Countless individuals endure immense suffering because they become entangled in a relentless internal narrative, a constant inner monologue that they call my life. Often, they are unaware of how this repeating story fuels deep unhappiness and anxiety. Many people feel so overwhelmed by the pain of their personal narrative that they contemplate drastic measures to escape it. Yet, amid all the despair that my life can evoke, it is vital to understand that this entire concept may simply be an illusion, a thought-constructed story that we mistakenly accept as our ultimate truth. When asked to describe their lives, many people point to a litany of past hurts or future apprehensions. Phrases like, my tragic past, my likely dismal future, the wrongs done to me, and the opportunities one never seized serve as the building blocks of their inner story. Some become so convinced that no one has suffered more than they have that they remain completely oblivious to the fact that their agony stems largely from the incessant, gloomy commentary echoing within their minds. The irony is that most of us fail to recognize the trap. We regard these recurring thoughts not merely as fleeting experiences, but as the essence of our identity. We continually replay events from the past or project catastrophic scenarios for the future, rarely stopping to question, is this endless mental commentary really who I am? When the narrative grows excessively dark, some individuals feel trapped with no escape, descending into despair. They cling to the belief that the story of my life is unchangeable, even though it is merely the habitual result of repetitive thinking. A key insight is to realize that my life is fundamentally a creation of the mind. Ask yourself, where exactly does my life reside? Many might claim it lives in their memories, in their relentless self-criticism, or in the bleak projections they cast onto the future. However, if you step back and observe, you will notice that it all exists solely within thought. A collage of painful recollections, regret, and foreboding predictions. These are simply images and inner chatter. None of them have a tangible presence in the current moment. Consider another perspective. Phrases like, he lost his life, or she lost her life, imply a separation between the person and something called life. Who, then, is this he or she? And what is this separate entity that is allegedly lost? Such language creates the illusion of a division between our true self and our life. In reality, you are life itself, a vibrant expression of the very energy that animates the universe. You cannot genuinely lose life because it is not something external that you possess. Rather, it is the core essence of who you are. This realization often marks a profound shift in perspective. You do not simply have a life, you are life. Understanding this can dissolve the isolation that comes from perceiving yourself as a separate, burdened entity, weighed down by past sorrows and future fears. When you step outside the confines of the my life narrative, you begin to see how much of that story was merely repetitive thinking. Once those old narratives lose their grip, what remains is a deeper, more vibrant awareness of the present moment, a pulsating presence beneath the constant stream of thought. Tapping into that deeper presence frequently starts by noticing the quiet gaps between thoughts. While language and inner commentary flow continuously, there are subtle pauses, brief moments of stillness, when your mind is not actively churning out thoughts. You might sense the silence between spoken words or the gap between one sentence and the next. In these moments, you remain fully aware, even as your mind temporarily rests. Far from disappearing, you access a more profound dimension of your being, a pure, unadulterated awareness that underlies all thought. Experiencing these moments of quiet reveals that your true essence is not confined to memories or fears. Instead, it is the living awareness itself, consciousness in its purest form, that observes thoughts without becoming defined by them. Thoughts resemble ripples on the surface of an immense ocean, while the ocean's profound depths represent this vast, quiet presence. If you only dwell on the surface, you identify with every ripple and wave. But once you become aware of the ocean beneath, you realize that there is so much more to you than the fleeting motion of thoughts. At first glance, stepping beyond the realm of thought might seem like a regression to a more primitive state, akin to the simple, unburdened awareness seen in animals who do not engage in conceptual thinking. However, this is not about reverting to a pre-human condition. Animals indeed possess a form of awareness that is free from the relentless self-generated narrative, often making them appear more content and at ease than overthinking humans. Yet, as human beings, we can transcend the confines of thought without abandoning our capacity to think, by tapping into an additional dimension of our consciousness that exists beyond the mere activity of the mind. Consider why so many people find comfort in the presence of animals, particularly pets. When you look into a dog's eyes and sense the pure acceptance and immediate presence there, you may find your own mental chatter momentarily silenced. For that brief period, the constant noise of thought gives way to a direct, unfiltered experience of simply being. A dog does not judge or label you. It does not carry a burdensome conceptual identity. That fleeting connection, where you and the animal meet in a non-conceptual space, can offer genuine relief to a mind overwhelmed by ceaseless internal dialogue. The goal is not to become like an animal, but rather to recognize that we too can live in a state of mindful awareness without being submerged in thought. Even the smallest pause in our mental processes can feel like a refreshing breath of air. Once we understand that these moments of quiet are always accessible, we become less captive to the ongoing narrative of my life. We start to discover an inner sanctuary, a peaceful refuge that exists beyond our constant conceptual chatter. This transformation does not involve suppressing or denying your thoughts. Instead, it means observing that thoughts naturally arise and fade within a broader field of awareness. By embracing that expansive field, becoming more attuned to the silence, the presence, and the immeasurable nature of your consciousness, you begin to see that what you once labeled as my life was largely an accumulation of habitual thinking and emotional burdens. Beneath it all lies an ever-present sense of aliveness that has always been part of you. It is also significant to note that many spiritual traditions throughout history have highlighted the distinction between being fully present and being lost in thought. Practices such as meditation, mindfulness, or prayer are not intended to quiet the mind permanently, but rather to help align you with the deeper presence that underlies all mental activity. As you learn to rest more consistently in this inner stillness, you come to understand that you are, in fact, life itself, and that life in its true form cannot be lost. The stories we once clung to lose their magnetic pull, and we find ourselves interacting with the world from a place of true openness. Ultimately, the choice is ours. We can continue to cling to the relentless drama of my life, or we can explore the possibility that we are already complete within the boundless, intelligent field of consciousness. Once we grasp this truth, it becomes clear that the deepest joy and peace do not come from endlessly revising our internal narrative, but from liberating ourselves from the false identity that the story has imposed. Living from this awareness allows the waves of thought and emotion to rise and fall without defining who we truly are, and in doing so, we may discover a profound and enduring sense of calm and well-being that has been with us all along.